Hi everyone, welcome to the Publishing Informant Show. I'm really happy to be here with Jean and Sasha from GNS Cover Design Studio. And these guys are the co-founders of the Cover Design Studio. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you. We're so
Thank
happy
you.
to be here.
We're very excited.
Good.
Yeah.
I absolutely love your covers. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. I've been going through your website and some of them are really incredible. So why don't you tell me a bit about your background, what led you into doing specialized photo covers for books?
You want to start?
You go right ahead.
I'll start. Okay. Well, we started off, we were located in New York. So the publishing market made a lot of sense for us to approach. And years ago, it was basically a photo process. So the whole photo process and how we concept covers, we just simply brought over to the indie community as they came to us. So it's a practice that we've been developing and refining for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So you've been doing book covers for 15 years or something.
15 plus,
Wow.
actually. If we're going to be truthful, but we don't want to get into numbers. That goes.
We're going to go into age.
Yeah. We've been doing this a long, long time. And not just books. I mean, we've done advertising campaigns. We've done all kinds of work. The process is very similar no matter what it's for. So we're both photographers and digital artists, and that's why we choose usually to start with a photo if we can, or our own stock.
Oh, cool. So that's what I was about to say. Your background is you're photographers, and that's kind of what led you into doing the cover design as well.
Painters and photographers.
Painters and photographers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Asking us more about like how we got started.
Okay. Well, so we were both working independently of each other, and then we met, and then I was in publishing and needed help, needed someone to. I was just looking in the back of my head. It wasn't real conscientious, but I was in the back of my head. I was looking for a little help, and Sasha also does a lot of styling, hair and makeup work, and that's a huge aspect to any photo shoot if you've ever been on one. And so I'd had hair and makeup specialist for years. And I started getting more into heavy, requests from these indie authors who were coming in who had more control and a lot of specifics. And it was getting really intense. And then we met through friends, and they suggested I call her. And I begged her to come and do a shoot together. And she eventually said yes after me maybe asking 5 times. He finally came. And it really opened up the world, because that particular shoot was a historical shoot. It was super sensitive. The author was a historical author. It was fiction, but it was historically based and very, very detailed. And
so if you pick up any of Lucinda Brandt's covers, you will see our work, and it's a historical. She is down to like where the placement of the necklace is. Like, it's very epic. I mean, I was building wigs for her, and she had costumes built in London, some in India, like very, very specific. So it was a big project. And so, from that, I feel like that maybe how many years was that? Like 8 years ago?
It was 8 years ago.
8 years ago was when we started to see a big turnover from authors going independent. Like more and more indie authors from that point were doing like larger projects and really coming to us. So we were getting fewer calls from publishers.
Yeah, we used to just have nothing but trade.
Yeah.
And then around the summer of 16, 17, it went way up on the indie side. And we were developing, and they wanted everything at once. They wanted to think about the whole series once, something we could never convince the trade to do, right?
Yeah, right. No way.
And so it became even more important to, meet. And we did. It was like, without sounding corny, we met at the right time.
Yeah.
And the first case was Lucinda Brandt, she's they're a very serious couple over there.
Yeah.
And the day that Sasha came in, the model she was working on, her mother was a theatrical set designer of historical pieces, specifically in New York. So she was confirming that everything Sasha was doing was perfectly accurate and blowing her mother away. I was like, listen, this is absolutely good to hear. Photo studio environments are very much like that. They're very about last minute energy, and that was a big one. So then I just, after that, honestly, I have to say, in short, we just took off like a rocket.
Yeah.
We never stopped talking and working together.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
So that's Lucinda Brunt. I'll get those. I'll get links to that, but those books
brilliant.
in the show notes so people can check out
Yeah,
your work. Because
really brilliant.
Fantastic writer.
And I think the other person who was in our lives at that time, roughly the same time, was Ella Summers,
Alice Summers.
who represented, a category in the market that we're very, very strong in. But she came in with just a lot. And again, Sasha and I got to experience working together, working on our process together. And one of the things that really blew my mind with working with you was versus any other hair and makeup artist. First of all, Sasha does the hair, she does the makeup, did the styling, but also thought about the concepts the author had, the colors, what the world was representing. So before we even had the talent come visit us, Sasha was already working on mannequins with hairstyles and costuming and designing all these things. And it totally blew my mind. I was like, okay, please just continue collaborating.
Yeah. And that ended up turning into a shoot that we were also shooting it on green screen.
Yeah.
So
right. Wow. Okay.
yeah, and that turned into we'll send you the short video. We can get into that later, but she ended up using that campaign for a Kickstarter that she's doing right now. And I think there were 7 separate stories in that whole universe. What is that one called?
We got Legion of Angels.
Legion of Angels and the Something Witch and
Yeah. Oh,
years we've been working with Ella Summers. So
Yeah.
it's been
we have like 5 or 6. It's a huge universe.
when we say
Yeah.
these years, how many years? I'm like, wait a minute. Is that
Yeah,
true?
I mean, yeah, and that's it. Yeah, man, that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's amazing that thing you just said about working with indie and how you used to do trade and now it's all indie. Like a lot of quite serious authors that I speak to now, are even publishing their own books just directly to customers because it's been a bit of a change in the market where people have much more access. So I think services like yours, where you can help people have that more premium product, are quite important now.
So that's absolutely correct. And a lot of them that also have worked with the big pub and maybe they have, oh my gosh, like, Sapphire and Emerald. What's her name?
Tom Cover?
No, the woman.
Oh, you know what?
Hmm.
I don't know. Oh, yes. Alona
Andrews. Alona Andrews. So
Yes.
she does both. That took a minute. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's a really great sign because we have a lot of clients.
I'm amazed.
So
Yeah.
that was
It's
amazing.
one thing I got right this morning.
Yes. So with Alona Andrews, she still is published by, I don't remember.
I think she's with HarperCollins.
She's with HarperCollins, and then she comes to us for her indie stuff. But also when she works with HarperCollins, I don't know if she has that in a contract or what, but she still comes to us and they use us for the shoot. And what we do is we'll shoot like one cover. But when she comes to us, let's say she comes to us, separately, like she could do 3. And she's not held down. Like that's what happens. A lot of the authors are held down to one book a year. And the indies, they put a book out. We encourage them to have, book 2, especially if it's a series, to have book 2 done as well, so that they put that on pre-order right after they release. So let's say they release their book. We want to make sure that we're already ready for the second book, so they can get that on pre-order. So you're like stacking your money, right? You're stacking your opportunity to be a success.
Publishers, they have a totally different way they sell books. They sell books to stores. So they have release schedules that are all about, the reason why they do one author at a time, I believe, is because they're looking at their whole list, not just that individual author.
Right.
Authors going into Amazon themselves as indies have to consider their own campaigns. So, we were thrilled because it's the way we wanted to work with our trade people, but they would never do it.
Right.
So we were excited.
Yeah, that's
it's
amazing.
a really exciting opportunity and to grow with these authors that we've been working with for a while. And then, it was introducing a lot of authors to us because they would see our name out there.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we touched on a couple of the concepts that you've worked on right now, such as having the makeup, the models, the design, all of that extra stuff that goes into it. But a lot of people that listen to it will be looking at some of the less premium options, maybe 100 covers, or even getting someone like Fiverr or Upwork to do their covers. So why do you believe that authors should be investing in a premium cover rather than doing a standard one? And also, who are the sort of authors who this would really appeal to?
Could you repeat that?
Sure. So, sure. So a lot of people, we talked a lot about we touched on this a little bit with your covers just now, where you it's so involved. You get the photographers, you have the historical pieces, you have the the mum of the author who is a historical expert coming in and making sure it's there's loads of steps to it. You can see how much work goes into a professional cover, but a lot of people listening to this are maybe starting out. They can't afford that entire process, and they're looking at something like 100 covers or Upwork or something a bit more affordable. So why do you believe that authors should be working with a premium service like yours, and what sort of authors do you want to work with?
Okay. So this is a really, thank you for asking that question. This is really important. So let's say you're an author and you've been working on this book. Maybe it's been in your head for years. Let's say, 10 years, let's say 5 years. Even if it's 1 year, it popped into your head and you're like, you know what, I have this book. But you spent time on that book. You spent years on this book. You've been outlining it. You've gone to an editor. You've done all of these things. Who's going to read that book if you don't have something on the cover that's representing what you have on the inside? So if you just go out there and you're like, oh, this is an urban fantasy and I'm just going to go out there and throw this on here, it doesn't make sense. If you go on Amazon, it's saturated with that. So when you come to our studio, we have a conversation with you in the beginning, and whether you reach out to us by email or Readsy or just find us and shoot us an email, or if you're in Vegas, and because there's a lot of indie authors there, it's a whole thing that we go to. It's called Author Nation this year
Yes,
in
I'm
November.
going as well.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So, we get approached by a lot of new authors and they're asking that exact question. We have a stock photo site that we then would send out to you. And if you see a model on there that fits the bill, fantastic. We will work with you. It's at a different price. When you come in for a photo shoot, and it's a huge process. It's a huge process to get us all the information that you need so that we can get the world that you want to create onto those books. When you are starting out, we still will ask that of the author, but on a different level, a much smaller scale. But if you are coming to us, we can create something for you by using stock photography. We do a lot of compositing. We make it happen for you, but it doesn't have to be. It's not one and done. It's not, you can only come to us if you have a series of 5. We work with every type of author because we want them to be successful. Because the more successful you are, then you come back to us, and it becomes, it's a process, but it's a relationship that we develop with these authors. And then, if you're looking to market, that's a huge process, is you have to brand yourself, because you don't have like Del Rey or HarperCollins or anything. They're going to do all that marketing for you, but you come to us and we're going to help you understand the process. And I think
Okay.
that's where a lot of the authors are missing. If you do that on your own, you're like, okay, I have this one book, I'm going to put it out there. I think my name should look like this, or I don't know, this is what everybody else is doing. And you throw it up there. And then let's say you write another book and you use a different type for your author name. It doesn't match up. It's a branding process. We really give our authors a lot of attention at the beginning to understand the process that goes into this.
What does that process look like with working with you? So what are the steps you'd usually go with for a new author who's wanting to work with you?
Mm-hmm.
We usually start off with a creative brief.
The creative brief.
It's something we develop.
What does that mean? What does that mean, a creative
brief?
brief?
So what we decided to do with our clients a long time ago was to, first of all, we like to meet them either by phone. We usually talk to them by phone first. And then we'll go and send them a brief, which kind of outlines how you should think of visually about your book. A lot of authors are very descriptive in writing worlds, but when they have to actually tell you what they want on a cover, it falls apart very quickly.
Very quickly. We actually end up sending it back so they get it over to us, and then we send it back to them and say, let's try this again.
Because we're just looking for, because they know, a lot of times we're looking for the key visuals as artists, and we always imagine it on a shelf with other covers. We always imagine them in a competitive environment. How are we going to separate you from the book next to you, even if you're in the same genre? And that's where they're going to park you. And so, we know they have it in their book, but a lot of times they may not mention or see the significance of that element or that magical element or a region. So we just help them kind of develop, focus on the uniqueness of the characters and the world you're in, And then that allows us some visuals to work with.
Right. So we usually
So
send them a creative brief from an author that did a really great job, right? So like they break down the character. What color hair does the character have? What color eyes does the character have? What are they wearing? What time of day is it? Is this does this take place on Earth? Like where does it take place? Like a lot of details. We're going to pull all that out. And if they have one book, they give it to us that way. If there's a series, we try to help them break it all down, like book 1, book 2, book 3. What is the color palette? What is the season? Those things are really important because we're trying to get your story as a snapshot, right?
yeah,
So
of
we're trying
course.
to get the story that you have in your book on the cover of the book. So that's
With branding.
yeah, with great branding. But yeah, so we're trying to get that out there for you. So it's like it really makes them think visually.
So you mentioned just now about you think about how it would look on the shelves. That's actually quite an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that. When you're designing a book cover, do you do research on things like Amazon or Barnes and Noble to see what other books are coming up in that category to be like, what would this book? Yeah.
We're obsessed about that.
Oh yeah.
Obsessive. We will spend hours in a bookstore. I mean, so
Yeah.
if we go to a bookstore, the whole day is shot.
The goal is like, let's go see if we have a
will-
new book on the shelf.
We will peruse those shelves and take them apart and analyze them to death. And we do the same thing on Amazon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazon
Yeah.
for sure. And we go to UK Amazon, US Amazon. We go on both because they are different. They are different. And what might be trending in the UK may not be trending in the US. It's very interesting.
Very much. And, I think a lot of our authors should spend more time. I know they don't want to hear this, but they should spend more time in bookstores, even though they feel like there's two different worlds out there. We don't really look at it like that, and by going to a bookstore, you'll sort of get a better visual idea of, well, how would I, see my book out there and what would make it stand out next to my competitors, or because, then the other thing is, because our process, and like Sasha pointed out earlier, we do all kinds of genres. So we can't, we really customize it to the author, the genre. Let's say it's a Western. Let's say it's a mystery. We have to switch gears and go to that style and thinking for that audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
What are the genres you generally work in?
Epic
Like
fantasy.
an fiction. Yeah.
Yes. Not always, but mostly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Epic fantasy, urban fantasy, historical romance, historical Western, thrillers,
Yeah.
Christian romance, Christian thrillers, sci-fi. Oh my God, sci-fi. Like,
Yeah.
love sci-fi.
Alternative history.
Alternative history.
And we love
Space opera. Space opera. We love working on space opera too. That's where you get. It's like it's fun because it's creative,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And if you're feeling dark, you hope that someone's going to send in a thriller.
Are there any particular elements that you often go back to use in order to make a book stand out? Like, do you have like a signature thing you say, I often use this particular element to make my book stand out on the page?
I know what Jean's going to say. Fire.
I wasn't going to say explosions.
Explosions. It depends on the genre, actually. Usually a lot of rim light. And some people can take that too far because they think, oh, rim light, it's going to bounce off the shelf. Well, actually, it's the opposite. If it's not placed properly, it really distorts the figure.
What's rim light?
Rim light?
It's a photo term.
Oh, yeah.
It's a photo term.
It's a photo term.
3 light setup. You have a what do they call it? Key light, and then you have a rim light to separate subject from the background, and then you may have a third light, a background light.
And then what happens is on a cover, let's say we didn't take that photo in the studio, but we had taken it like earlier, or we composited a figure, which we can get into later, and we used the head, and then we built a body, or maybe it was armor, and so then you color the light behind it. So we bring that in. We actually bring that light in, whether we go and search up like an explosion, for example, if we want like red, and then you put it behind the figure, and then it highlights the figure from the background. So if we don't get that, like on a shoot, if this is something that we're just creating something like it's a one-off, or like someone is like, I don't want to do a shoot, but I want to use your stock fine. And then we just create the rim light where we don't have it. Sometimes we have to remove it and then replace it. But we definitely, that is a huge technique that we use.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean,
it's,
yeah. Okay, if I
I
could
was saying it's
build on
quite
that.
interesting hearing you like nerd out over these particular points, because if you
Yeah.
like if you were getting a cover just like using your own skills, like using Canva or something, or using
Yeah.
one of these cheaper designs, that not like none of this is going to be done. So just by explaining your process, you're explaining what the difference is between getting a premium cover and getting something a bit more standard.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
So, you know, people still come to us for photo shoots. This is a huge book. It's out right now by this
Yes.
author.
Yeah. It's The Seventh Veil of Salome, and it's
What's the name of the author?
Sylvia
Sorry,
Moreno Garcia.
Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Okay, we'll put it in the show notes as well.
Yeah. So this right now is like Good Morning America's book club of the month. Like it happens to be, we're reading that in my book club right now. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
No, continue.
You shot it. So, but that, you know, that's a photo shoot. So here, the woman is in a chair. We always have some sort of, not this chair, not the chair you see, but the woman's in a chair, a historical chair, just because
That's what we had in the studio.
yeah, we always have objects and furniture in the studio. And so, you know, our director comes in, they may not have a real clear idea of where they want to go. They have a general idea. So we select the model, we select the costume. Sasha does all the hair and makeup and styling and costuming, and we both do the photography. She's been doing more of the photography lately. I've been doing more of the lighting lately. So, you know, but Sasha's really great with working with art directors and positioning and concepting the style of the shot and look of the shot. And so this is just an example of a straightforward photo shoot. I mean, with quality, you put the chair in, you put the background, and you put all these details in later. So a lot of this skill level we bring to.
Right. So then let's say we go to this, which is Michael Enderle. We redid the Catherian Gambit. Maybe it had been done one or two other times, but we went all the way between, we did 1 through 21 for him. So 21 books. And he had a photo shoot done, I don't even know how many years ago, like maybe 10.
It was quite well.
Yeah. And then he gets that photo shoot and said, could you just create it from here? We're like, sure. Okay. So this is a perfect example of using the rim light, because that was a shoot, but she also wasn't wearing that. What we used from that shoot was just the head. And then we built whole body, the armor, the cape, all of that. And then we made the rim light and the color behind it. Lindsay Buroker, who is one of our favorites. I also do enjoy reading her books. Lindsay Buroker, she had a photo shoot, but there was not a motorcycle there. So you have to composite everything. And, you know, this is always in Seattle. She's, you know, it always takes place in Seattle. So we know the background.
Yeah.
That's what we mean by the rim light. Like this jumps off, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So there's a big process that goes into that, and you have to know where to highlight. So let's say you are an author and you're like, it's my first time out. I'm just going to do it myself at home. You go on, I don't even know where they go to do that. And then they put it together, and you know, you invest that much time in writing that book. You invest money in your editor. I feel like you should, from the beginning, start setting money aside, even if it's a little bit. Set a little bit of money aside when you start writing that book, so that by the time you get ready, that you need that cover and you want to get that book out there, you know that you have a little nest egg, and that is going to pay for your cover. Because you know what? If you invest all that time into writing that book, you want to make sure that people are going to pick it up. You want to make sure that people see it on Amazon, because they're going to fly past all of these books. If you have, you know, I don't know if I can say that's like a half-assed cover, no one's going to stop on that. They're going to stop on the one that grabs the eye. And if it's not,
definitely.
Really, no one's going to stop on that book and click.
Yeah.
You might have written the best book ever, but no one's going to know.
You're right. I have seen some great covers that have been done by like cheaper companies, but the consistency is definitely never there. Like I've used the same cover designer for 2 books before, and one was great and the other one was really bad. And you know, you've kind of already spent this money to get this cover. You want to work with someone that is going to get that consistency right. Then that is, you know, that's the bit that's missing, I think.
And you know, we don't turn people away. I will say that. I'll try to shorten this story. So we met I was approached by an author in a very bizarre way when it was still 20 books to 50K in Las Vegas. And he kept like stalking us. Like he came to our presentation and he was listening, and then he came up after and he was like, how much does it cost? And we're like, well, no, well, what do you have? And he's like, well, I'm going to come back. We're like, okay. And then he like came back again. I mean, days that we were there, this guy kept coming up and like, well, I don't know. I'm not going to pay that. My wife's not going to let me drop that money and blah, 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 blah. And I've already had them out there. And we're like, okay, well, reach out to us when you get home. Maybe you'll change your mind, do a little research, let us know. He finally reached out to us and he said, I can only spend this much. And we were like, how many books do you have? Send us what you have. And we like fainted. Fainted. I was like, what genre are you writing? Are you having any success with this? And he's like, well, what genre do you think it is? And I said, beach romance. And he was like, it's a thriller murder.
Yeah, it's go along with this. It's unbelievable.
We do. We can send you these graphics because we ended the following year. We used it in our presentation, and I said, "Okay, everybody, show of hands. I want to know what you think this genre is." And they were like, "Romance, beach romance, like quick read, cozy." We're like, and then we clicked to the next slide, and it was like, "What genre is this?" They're like, "Thriller." What is it? Not psycho thriller.
Forensic
thrillers.
Because he's a police detective.
Yeah.
And it's like and like weapons and stuff.
And this is dark stuff. It gets dark.
Yeah.
He also teaches at a university.
Yes. So this is
amazing.
This is Michael Merson. Check it out.
I've got to see these covers now.
Michael Merson.
He's a genius.
He is. And guess what happened after that? He went from selling very few books. People said they accidentally picked it up. A lot of women readers were clicking on it because they thought it was romance, giving him great reviews and saying, this is not my usual genre, but the writing was so great, I'm going to give it a review. And then he took off. After we recovered those books, he took off straight up. Even when we saw him the following year, we
didn't recognize him.
He was like
walking around with like gold chains on. Yeah.
His confidence was like 100%. We're like, who the hell's this guy?
I was like, dude, that's Michael Merson.
Well, even though we worked with him the whole year, we didn't see him. We didn't see the guy.
Yeah, he's great. And then the third year, he came up on the panel with us and told his story and how this guy's making money now. He's written so many more books. He sends us clients.
He speaks at conferences.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm going to go and catch him because this sounds like a really interesting guy.
Yeah.
He's really a joy to talk to. He's smart. I mean, that is the best example.
Yeah.
It is really a terrific example. I think, he's not the only one. We've met so many authors who have just no idea what to even expect from a cover designer, which is why we said earlier, go to a bookstore. That's what you should expect.
Right.
Just because now, let's say you have $100, $200. First of all, those budgets are too low for anything serious. Yeah. If you start to get up a little higher, you should still expect a great product. If you go up a little higher, most of the better designers are charging around $1,200, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are our fees. Now, for some, like Michael, we actually met his budget, which was a lot lower, to help him get started.
Yeah.
And, we work with our indies, and it depends on the cover project. Not all of our prices are that high.
Right. So I will say this, and because he came to us with multiple books and through a lot of conversation, we started him at $550 for his cover.
Yeah.
And then that was an agreement that then he would pay, the standard price that we would charge for a thriller like that. And that was $950, and that is $950. So he started at that, and he saw the increase on the money he was making. And like, it was within like 2 weeks. I mean, he could not believe when you really do it right. And he was so afraid. And we're like, why are you so afraid? You've already put so much time and you have lost time.
Yeah.
And now, it's a question that these authors need to ask themselves, like, how much time have you put into that? Just trust the process.
Yeah. A lot of them, I think, they just don't even know what to expect, from a cover designer.
Yeah.
And and then he went audio. Then his audio sales took off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is something, so we want to see the same success with everybody who comes through the door.
Absolutely.
We really do. And we could cite other examples of that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting hearing you speak about the covers, because obviously a lot of people just they kind of leave the cover till last, and I think everyone thinks, oh, no one judges a book by their cover, but they absolutely do. I was speaking to Mike Courigan. He was one of my first episodes on here, and he's from Written Word Media, which is a book promotion company. They do, if you're launching a book for free or for cheaper, they'll launch it for you, and it's a really, really great service. And one of the quotes he said was, people say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but people do, and I've got data to prove it. So
That's right. 100%.
Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Another author similar to, not quite where Michael was, but another author, Justin Leslie, and so we're not just mentioning male names, but Robin King, R.L. King, both had come to us when their series was about 9 books in, 5 to 9 books in, and they knew they could probably be getting greater sales or greater audience, and they weren't sure. And they hadn't hot, and we brought them in. We almost had to drag them through the door. We went through the same process. We did the creative briefs. We had the discussion points. Yes. In this case, we did go with photo shoots as the process to help those characters really become solid and so forth. But
let me just interject here. That was because that was an investment. R.L. King was like, I'm going to write 30 plus books. So we were like, why would you just keep trying to find? Because her complaint was that she couldn't find enough of that stock image. So we said a photo shoot is for you the absolute most economical way to go, because we're going to shoot 500-600 shots for you, and you can write as many books as you want, and you can use any of those photos for any of your marketing, like whatever you want. That's your man, that's your guy, that's your character, that's Stone. Same with Justin Leslie. He was like, I don't know how many books I'm going to write. I'm already at book what?
We started at book 5.
Yeah, and then we went back and recovered 1, 2, 3. Even though he kept writing 5, 6, 7, then we went back, and then he could release 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. So we just sent him over book. What was it?
Okay.
Book 8. We just finished it yesterday. Sent it over and blew his mind, and he's happy as can be.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What are are there some of the elements with your process that make it a more expensive process? For example, I'm assuming if you do a full photo shoot, that makes it more expensive than using like a stock images cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would pay the photo shoot is a separate price from the covers. So because you have a model, you have studio fee, you have custom and design, and that could run, usually it's about $2,000, between $2,000 and $3,000.
Yeah, for the shoot. But you, as you mentioned, you can get loads of shots from that you can use in all different things as well.
As many.
We'll even bring in, it also helps conceptually too. We come up with a lot of creative ideas. We bring a lot of props and weapons in, and a lot of things that the author never, we hear this all the time. If the author is like, oh my God, I have so many more ideas now, and they almost rewrite the whole brief on the set, which is fine. We're just there to get ideas, and they love it.
Right. So, we love going to the photo shoot because we do, like Jean just said, we actually bring, a lot of weapons, whether they're swords, guns that are not real, they're props, but they're really heavy and they're really cool. We've had bow and arrows. We've had, you name it, we bring it. Real costumes, because when you have an outline of, let's say, 8 books, and in those 8 books, you have all these thoughts, right? So your model is out there like moving with the weapon, so that we're not putting those, sometimes you see the hands that someone definitely, composited, and they're like barely holding the thing and it looks like it's floppy, like that's a sword, but that's not how you hold a sword. So some people get very specific about that. So if you're an author that, you've got your heart and soul into this series that you're writing, just like Lisa Phillips. She's a Christian author, and this is a thriller, and her character is amazing, but she's like in a winter jacket, right? And she's like bent down, like, how hard it is to find a stock photo like that. Like, coat, she has a very specific gun that she uses, like all these things.
Big series.
It's a big series.
And we can, those costumes sort of lead you to, whoa, it's a winter scene. So you're going to have more blue light. And sometimes we'll add some color, just to, again, getting back to the branding and making each book look different. And that's one of the things that can really help in a photo shoot.
Yeah. Amazing. When people listening to this, they'll be thinking now, it's probably my cover is the reason that my sales aren't good, which isn't always the case. But do you have any tips for people who are trying to assess whether their cover is possibly the reason why their sales might not be as good, or whether a cover is effective as they want it to be?
Yes. Let's say you go on Amazon and you type in top 10, top 20 selling urban fantasy. What
Okay.
comes up, right?
So do you mean go to the bestsellers list on that section? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And take a look at those books, and then look at your cover and ask yourself, does it look like anything up there? Do you feel that that is best representing, even if it's conceptual? Like, is it the same vibe? Is it the same color palette? Is it a similar color palette? Even your type can also tell you. Like, let's say you're doing an epic fantasy and you've got block letters. Well, that's not going to work. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not even the right genre. So if someone's like scrolling through and maybe they're on their phone, think about it. People who are commuting or just like sitting around their couch and they're on their iPhone or their whatever, their cell phone, and they're scrolling, like it has to pop out. Like if it just looks like a dark cover, they're certainly not going to click on that. If you see an apple with some highlights around it because it worked for Twilight, well, that might not work for you if you're writing a thriller, right? Or like, I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
It's like, it makes me crazy.
I guess there is a bit of a balance to be struck between like fitting in and also standing out, though.
Absolutely.
You're right. Yeah, you don't want to just draw an apple because obviously you'll just look like a Twilight cover. But do you want to keep those like black and red colors, or would you want to have something that was like completely different so you stand out on that page? It's a bit of a balancing act, I think.
It is that's why we encourage people to come to us, because we are on top of that. And that's what this is like. You're the author. We don't write the book. You write the book. You come to us to make the cover because this is what we specialize in. And we're not trying to tell you how to write the book. That's what you specialize in. So you go to someone who specializes in what you're looking for, right? I feel like you wouldn't go to the dentist to fix a broken leg. Everybody has a job.
Well, yeah, and it's likely we've come across the problem before. It's likely to come across the challenge before. We had a woman come in who was again, historical Western writer, writing fiction, but set in very, history. We love that stuff. And we knew exactly what to do. I mean, there's not a lot of examples to find out there.
Right.
So naturally, she didn't know where to go.
Right.
And was really struggling.
And she paid for 2 covers and she sent it. And I was like, oh my God, do we have to tell her? It's painful, but we have to be honest and say, like, this is going to get no one. Like, you're going to get, I don't even know. This looks like a book, like a college book or so. Like, I don't even know.
Right.
Like, I had no idea even where to place.
It was as bad as Michael Merson's example. Totally off.
It was. I was just like, I have no idea what. If she just sent this over, I would have zero idea of what. It's a pamphlet for. I don't have any idea.
Right.
Really? Seriously, right? It's like the.
Yeah.
And now, if you look at the cover that we made for her, I think she almost cried. And and it wasn't her. She sent it around to her beta group, and they were like losing their minds. They just couldn't decide if there should be more dirt on the wagon trail, right? Like that was their only critique. Like, should there be more gravel or more dirt, right?
Yeah. They were. It was like, fine, fine. We get your point about the gravel, no problem.
Yeah,
we'll make that work.
Yeah. A little more rim light.
Right.
Rim light sounds to everything. So, to tell me a bit more. Have you just last question? Have you got any exciting projects that you're working on at the moment that you want to share with us and tell us a bit how they've gone?
Exciting projects?
You know what? We do have one that is really cool, and we met last year.
Do I know about it?
Yes.
Oh.
Lisa Mitchell.
Oh yeah.
So we met this woman, Lisa Mitchell, and she came to hear us speak. And then after, she just waited and was like, I just love what you did for Thomas Carpenter. My husband, he's written a lot of books. He's published. It's huge.
Epic fantasy.
Yeah. And we have been working on this series for almost a year, and they have not released it yet because they want to recover what they did. And he launched, and then they gave us another series that he's working on And we're into book 3 on that one, and that has been released. And he's up to what I think we're at like 13, 14, maybe 16. He did release a few, just they wanted to just put it out there to see if people are going to respond to it, and they are going crazy for it. And they're waiting. So we're really excited because we have all of these stacked up, and we did the logo. We've done color changes for the logo. I mean, it is epic. It's massive, this project. And I'm so excited.
And it's not figurative. Well, landscapes.
Yeah, it's a lot of them are landscapes. We did not do a photo shoot. I mean, it's really exciting. And at the same time, I'm like, I just want them to release more. Just let people can see it, because it's like, it's definitely been like a fantastic project to work on. And I will be so sad when this
I don't think it's ever going to end.
Yeah.
Which you think is going to end?
We're still going, and we're doing like banners for them. We're doing A+ content. We're like just loading them up with all of this social media banners.
It's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. If this doesn't get picked up for a series or like the next like huge HBO series, I would be shocked.
We're excited for a lot of our authors. I mean, John Corwin, somebody we work with, just passed through a fantastic idea, something we do see getting picked up by HBO.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Merson. I mean, we've worked with Michael Enderley, Shane Silvers. You know, we've helped so many. We've worked with so many and had the joy of seeing so many of these brands grow. It's really exciting stuff. Ella Summers is back in with a huge amount of stuff.
Yeah, and C.E. Murphy.
And C.E. Murphy.
So here's a
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Jean actually did these covers for C.E. Murphy how many years ago? No, the old one. You didn't do anything?
I didn't do
In the publishers?
No, I just admired them. No, I had nothing to do with them. The original ones through Random House, I had nothing to do with them.
Oh, I take it back. So C.E. Murphy.
But they were done by really great photographers. They were photo driven and really accomplished. And she called like last January, February, and I was like so excited. I think I hung up on her and called Sasha.
Yeah. So
guess what?
We ended up doing a photo shoot with her, and she said, "I'm getting my rights back." Isn't it like all of her publishing rights back for this whole series, the Walker Papers, and they have her fan base is like loyal. Like they have their own like Facebook pages. Like it's like over the time. It's like Haley Edwards, like, you know, working with Haley Edwards, her fan base, like they have tattoos, like it's incredible. Same thing with C.E. Murphy. Yeah. Very specific. It has been a joy. And this is a huge project because it's how many?
Oh, she got big. What is it? 12 books?
12 books. And I think we're on 5.
We're on 5.
We're on 5.
Yeah.
Same thing. So very specific, and she'll send it out there to her fans and just like a little nibble of what we're doing, and then she'll send it back and say like, oh, you know, they're really happy about it, or the car needs to be this color, it's not the right color. So people get really specific. But I did come with that great idea about putting the name of the car on the way.
Oh yes,
I love that.
Oh yeah. No, you know, that too we shot. I mean, some of these examples we're citing, you know, we did shoot. It depends on the nature of the project. Because hers were photo driven originally. We did a photo shoot again. Yeah. And we're just having a great time. She's also
You showed me.
I did do covers for C.E. Murphy through Random House years ago, but it wasn't that series.
Not that
Another series. It's really quite epic fantasy. It was wonderful.
It's not, because
thank you for reminding me.
You pulled the book down. You're like, look, this is
I right. I don't know. I don't know. It's early in the day.
It's really amazing hearing the way you guys work, because obviously it's so much more involved than it would be with a normal cover designer, because obviously you really speak to the authors, you get involved with the characters, and basically you help them with that entire creative process. It's not a case of just like, these are my requirements, let's do your picture. It's more, let's do this together.
Yeah, we sat down. I'm sorry.
You know, we really like to work that way because we feel like you just get a better product. And some cover designers might say the opposite, and maybe they don't like that and they don't want to do that. But I feel like, and that's fine. That's fine. That's just their process. Not everybody's going to do the same.
Yeah, we don't box
no, we don't box any of the authors in, and also we don't, not for any of the other cover designers who we are friendly with, but their process is maybe just different than ours. We did a panel. We were on a panel last year, and all of us were very different in our process. And it was interesting to hear it. And I know internally, just being creatives, we were all judging because later on we had a conversation like, why would you do that? And I'm like, I don't know, that's just how it works. And I'm like, why would you not ask them these questions? And they're like, because then they just want us to keep, revising. And I'm like, no, I feel like if you get it down right, then you get like 1 or 2 comeback, like that's it.
Yeah.
Because you already asked all the questions. Like, I want all the information. I want the information. We want the information so that we can make it happen. And then you spend less time on it because you get it right the first or second time. Okay, second time. It's the first, but the second time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for coming today. I think everyone's going to get a lot out of like hearing how your process works and like seeing what the difference is between a premium cover like that and working with someone normal. I think it really explains how involved the whole process is and what the advantage are of getting someone who really knows what they're doing. And you can see from all the case studies that what a big difference it makes and how much difference it makes to your sales overall. If people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Go to gscoverdesignstudio.com.
Or you can email us.
And I can email us too.
Yes.
Yep.
And our email address is
gs.photo.
admin@gs.photo.com.
Brilliant. We'll put all that in the show notes. Plus, we'll put all the books you've mentioned during this show in the show notes as well, so that people can check out your work like in real life. So just before we go,
you can just use our names too. Just Google our names. The work comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Jean and Sasha from GNS Cover Designs.
Yeah, and if you're going to be at Author Nation, we will have a table there. Please, if you're an indie author, do not be afraid. We do not bite.
Yeah.
We don't have any stickers. We love dragons. I love making dragons. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Yeah. But please come by and just say hi.
Yeah. We answer questions all day long.
All day long. We're there all day long. And show us, even if you like some authors come up and they show us what they did on their own.
Oh,
What do you think of this? I mean, we'll be honest. And it won't be difficult, but like if it's good and you're seeing success, if we can encourage you or help you out in any way, we're happy to do that.
Yeah, we practically hold a class. It's almost like we're teaching at that trade day they have. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to come meet you in person. But just before we go, so we've got one final question. So what is the book you recommend everyone should be reading at the moment?
You go.
We could just go with some of your books that have just come out. We'll go with those 2 books that came out, if you like.
Well, the Seven Veils Anime is great.
Yeah.
But I'm actually, let's see, Lindsay Buroker. I'm Shane Silvers is a really, if you want to just grab a book and like get sucked in, his series, his Callie series. Right now I'm reading Sarah J. Maas because I think she has 3 different series. Yeah. So right now I'm reading like 4 or 5 books. Kevin Hearn,
he's probably our longest running client, but he goes to the major pubs. So we don't directly work with him, just the art directors at Random House.
Right.
And this is the 2nd series that we've worked on for him through Random House. But
A Blight of Black Wings, that's a great book. It's a long read, so you're gonna,
Yeah, you might want to start with his original series too. And those are big. Yeah. I would say definitely check out C. Murphy's relaunch of her series. And
it's hard for you to ask book cover designers.
Well, that's all right. We've got loads of things to work with there, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. It's been great to chat to you today. It's been a really good chat. So hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales, but are not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1.